And investigates the legacy of two lawmen killed in a downtown Chicago courthouse. It happened 30 years ago this summer.
As Ben Bradley reports, it's a story of cop-turned-criminal and the court officers who likely stopped a deadly rampage.
It turns out time doesn't heal all wounds.
Time just goes by so fast, but you don't realize it's been 30 years, without him. Like, you never got to meet my kids.
I could see this guy running, and then all of a sudden he just fell.
He was face down on the pavement. I knew it was gunshots right away.
Some eyewitnesses say that as many as a half dozen shots were heard, and when passers-by gathered to find out what had happened, the body of Jeffrey Erickson was seen lying face down on the ramp leading to the Dirksen Federal Building garage.
You keep replaying what happened, it never should have happened, and that's the hardest thing to deal with.
When ambulance crews arrived, a building security guard and a deputy U.S. Marshal were found seriously hurt.
I can remember everything in vivid detail, what happened. Everything.
And I just heard breaking news that there's a shooting at the federal building.
It's kind of hard to think about these memories.
We could see everything happening on the news, all the different channels.
The tragic chain of events that unfolded here.
We remember seeing them wheeling one of the victims on a stretcher. It was crazy. You don't see that now, but I kind of saw the video and I'm thinking that looks like my dad's body shape or clothes.
I knew it was him on the stretcher. They had his head covered, but I recognized his watch and his shoes.
Two families torn apart by one man's actions.
These are Bill's actual U.S. Marshal credentials.
There's Deputy U.S. Marshal Roy Frakes. Friends and family called him Bill.
Deputy Roy Frakes was a relative newcomer to the U.S. Marshal Service. He was a young, educated, and dedicated law enforcement officer who should have been able to serve the United States for years to come. He leaves behind a new bride.
Married 2 years, on the job, just 9 months.
So my mom has the original picture. And I see that picture, I cry all the time.
And Harry Belloamini, a retired Chicago police detective working as a court security officer.
Harry Belloamini worked mostly out of Area 5 headquarters, and colleagues here remember that Harry always had a story to tell, sometimes to entertain, sometimes to teach young detectives.
Whenever you needed something done, he was always right there.
My dad really did save a lot of lives.
It was the summer of 1992. A brazen bank robber had dominated the headlines for months. He wore a fake beard, carried a gun, and a police scanner while knocking over banks across the suburbs. The crimes and the getaways were all coordinated. We would later learn that's because Jeff Erickson spent a year as a Hoffman Estates police officer, and his wife was his getaway driver.
28-year-old Jill Erickson also went out in a storm of gunfire. She shot and killed herself last December in this bullet-riddled van following a high-speed chase and gun battle with police.
While Jill took her life, Jeff was arrested and facing the possibility of life behind bars.
Robbing banks may have been Jeffrey Erickson's most lucrative profession, but it wasn't the only one. He and his wife sold rare books out of this suburban storefront.
It's hard to believe that such a nice couple could really be bank robbers.
Bank robbers who let nothing stand in their way.
On trial last week at the Dirksen Federal Building, the man described as the bearded bank robber presented a far less menacing appearance. Bespectacled, clean-shaven, and wearing a conservative blue suit, he's believed to have shot and wounded Palatine police officer Kevin Maher with an assault rifle during a routine traffic stop last November. Maher seen here last week after testifying against Erickson in federal court.
It was in July of 1992 the bearded bandit would make his most bold move yet. After court, Deputy U.S. Marshals were preparing to take him from the Dirksen Federal Building back to the lockup a few blocks away.
What happened here in July of 1992, 2 federal law enforcement officers were killed in a U.S. courthouse. That has never occurred in modern times anywhere else in the country.
A news graphic at the time primitively showed how Erickson and other inmates were being taken in an elevator to the basement garage of the courthouse. That is when he made his move.
Attorneys for other inmates on the elevator that day say the same thing, that their clients didn't see anyone help Erickson and that the inmates believed their own lives were in jeopardy.
We would later learn Erickson had hidden a handcuff key in his mouth. He used it to free his restraints and steal a deputy's gun. Moments later, he would encounter Deputy Frakes and court security officer Belloamini.
And I think what my dad did was pretty extraordinary. I mean, to be shot and be able to return fire to someone and kill them before they can go out in the rush hour traffic downtown Chicago and stop someone from harming other people. It's pretty incredible.
A gun battle in a federal courthouse garage with an armed and desperate man. Both Frakes and Belloamini were shot, but they stayed in the fight.
You know, it's hard to talk about, but being shot and knowing you're going to die, but then turn around and be able to shoot someone. And they did say that the wound that my dad caused would have killed the criminal, and the criminal knew that going up that ramp.
Erickson collapsed steps from freedom and fired one more shot, ending his own life, but beginning a new mystery.
After Jeffrey Erickson collapsed on the parking garage ramp, officials found the key to his handcuffs laying beside him.
How did a criminal get the keys to the cuffs?
We're trying to determine where the key came from, when he got it.
And why weren't his hands secured behind his back?
With handcuffs on the front of the body and with a hidden key, in this case under my belt, it really doesn't take any special skills to get these devices undone. In this case, it's a process that's taking me all of 10 seconds.
See if proper procedures were followed.
People were being placed in line. Mr. Erickson had asked he and I believe another inmate whether or not they would mind if he moved to the back of the line.
It was talked about on the news for weeks.
You would want the keyholes on the reverse side facing the individual, and if you could just imagine their hands being in the cuff, they would not be able to get the key back to the reverse side.
The third one in sometime in 2023.
Former Chief Deputy U.S. Marshal in Chicago, Jason Modillo, said Erickson's cellmate was the key.
In subsequent years, Robert Burke was prosecuted in this court for smuggling the key, allegedly selling him the key. He served a 20-year prison sentence. He was released from the Bureau of Prisons in 2019 while I was here, and then subsequently deported.
Yes, I was here that day, and yes, I remember it.
Chicago's chief judge was just starting her career on the bench in 1992. She had actually presided over the bank robber's initial hearing. Almost lost to history is that the armed escapee encountered his trial judge in the garage that afternoon.
Well, Judge Alicia was the trial judge, and I know that it was his strong conviction that these men, officers Frakes and Belloamini, saved his life.
Had my dad not stopped him, you had someone out there with a gun who was desperate, and you had all these people walking around.
It took 30 years, but the city of Chicago has finally honored both lawmen for their bravery. Hoisted atop an intersection in Federal Plaza, you'll now find their names.
I like the fact that Harry and Bill are on the same street intersection. They're back together again.
Area 5 when he retired.
It's a story these families have lived for 3 decades.
This was a picture I had taken of him in front of the memorial wall. Well, now his name's on that memorial wall.
It has shaped them and their choices.
He was always about what's right is right.
All 3 of Harry Belloamini's kids followed in their father's footsteps and became Chicago police officers. All have worn their dad's police star. All 3, along with Bill's loved ones, carry that loss and that legacy.
When people say law enforcement doesn't matter, our dad died that day, but how many people did he save? So law enforcement matters.
The man convicted of giving the handcuff key to Jeff Erickson was deported back to Ireland following his release from prison in 2019. 30 years later, we still don't know how he got that key. Ben Bradley, WGN Investigates.